Frontline Chat with Harry Tanguy and Dave Wardell.
Hello, and hello. How are you? Blimey, 95, 170. What is going on here? 170 followers already. People want to know what's happening to Dave, what's happening to Finn, isn't it? I will try to update you a little bit. Hello all. Hello. Thanks for joining us. 224. This is a lot of people concerned about our Finn and our Dave. Without doubt, I have three, very fortunate enough to have three very good friends and bestest friends, you call them, in there. And Dave is number two. No, they're not in any particular order, not like my children. No, really, really good to see you. And he did send me a little clip. I asked him, could you send me just a little clip? Because something that's just a little bit for you guys, specifically you guys who've come and made the effort to come on here. So it's really, really appreciated. First of all, hello. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Sue, Heather, Penelope, and Linny, we will see you at Chester. The honest truth is, I haven't even asked Dave. This is not the time to hassle him with Chester. Yes, in my selfish mood, Chester for everyone out there. Dave and I do this every week on a Saturday, and sometimes we have guests and sometimes we don't. It's sort of police related, but sometimes only just. And it's a little bit of just honest debate, chatting, but not too controversial. We don't want to come here and be depressed and then have to leave again, being all depressed. We want this to be a sort of an uplifted moment, a time, an hour at 4:00 on a Saturday where it's just a bit of fun. So, yeah, and so Chester on Wednesday will be 7:30. You probably still get tickets at the Story House in Chester. It will be Dave, myself, Ian Paulson Davies, and Arthur Smith from Grumpy Old Men, who is doing a comedy sketch at the end, but is just having a good old chat and doing a bit of this on stage, which I'm really looking forward to. I really hope Dave will be there, but I'm not going to bully the man into it. I mean, if he's just not in his right mind to be there, he needs to be with Finn and whatever. So apologies in advance for those who may be looking at who are there for just Dave. I shall have to wear a mask or something. I don't know. So, gosh, loads of comments coming in and things like that. So do you know what? I think I'm just going to play this a message from Dave at the moment. I've just got to share that screen because it came off. And let's have a little look at this, shall we? Production team slow today. Here we go.
Hi, we're just here with Finn, India and I just doing a little bit of ice treatment on his back. Sorry we can't join you for Frontline Chat today. We're just a little bit preoccupied with other bits and bobs. We will come and give you a proper update soonest, but just know that Finn's being his normal, cheeky self. We're doing everything we can to get him better. Speak to you soon, guys.
I love a particularly good nose shot, I think, of Finn. So yeah, he was good enough to put that together for this afternoon. My personal view, I think Finn looks really healthy, really alert. He's loving being loved, and he's a healthy dog. I mean, I've had dogs where they've got older and it's that time, and Finn is definitely not that time. He's hurt himself, and he slipped on that seat or whatever, and that step. And can I just thank you so much to those people out there who have donated. Now, let me tell you something about Dave, because this is the advantage I've got being on my own here. So those who don't know me, I'm Harry Tanguy. I was a police officer for 30 years and did far less interesting things than what Dave's done. But we're just good mates, and we've done this ever since. What can I say? Dave is a selfless person who sometimes gets negative things on Twitter because that's Twitter. I think it was Jack Carroll who said, I'd rather be told on Facebook happy birthday by those who don't mean it than receive a death threat on Twitter by those who do. That's sort of the difference between Twitter and Facebook. So, and I think we can all sort of relate to that. But it's sort of true. So he gets some shite on there, quite frankly, and he doesn't deserve it. It's only the small minority who think, well, I wouldn't do this thing for free. I wouldn't help all these charities and these people and these dogs and animals. There must be something more to it. And so they look into it. Now, he's a trustee of the Thin Blue Poor, as you are well aware, and they had an amazing charity evening, which means, because he's a trustee, he can't give money to himself, quite rightly. It's all integrity and stuff like that. So he has to fork out his own money. I've said to him a few times, you need to stop being so generous by driving your van that's got 250,000 miles on the clock with your to hand out prizes at awards at ceremonies, because will you come along and do this, do this for us? And he says, yeah. And it just, I said, Dave, you're going to need to learn to say no sometimes. That's all. So there we go. He's a lovely guy, and he needed this money. He needed a little bit of help, I think, with Finn, with the raising the money and that side of thing. And there is a thread that you can find on my link or his link on his Twitter or Facebook. There's a thread where you can donate money. And he's sending it to that brilliant Irish vet who just does amazing things for animals, doesn't he? The one who does hip replacements and things like that, or metal joints and things like that. But generally, he's so good. He's volunteered to have a look at him free of charge, and then obviously we'll go from there. That's a sort of update on it. But while you're here, and if I get anything else from Dave on the way in, I'm getting a few WhatsApps and all that, see whether they are, just to see, then I will let you know. But he's back at home. Finn's looking lovely. Yes, he's having to. Tia is his youngest daughter, who is fascinated in the same way Dave is with dogs and dog training things, and she's massaging him, giving cold presses and things like that. And there's Finn just loving every moment of it. It's like a spa, I think, to him. So it's all good. It's all good, folks. I think the future is bright, certainly for the foreseeable, anyway. Thank you, Karen. We got there. Thank you, Karen, for that. And Janice sending you love and thoughts to a lovely boy, Dave. I'm just going to go after this and just talk about a few of the policing things that we've gone through the week. About, it's always the Met, isn't it? The Met have all the attention and lots of criticism there or whatever. And now they're saying, we should have just go into the private phones every now and then, just to see whether they're doing misogynist jokes and things like that, and whatever, or racist jokes and things like that. I'll give my opinion on that. I'll do that in a second. Not that you would be interested, but sometimes when you've been a cop for a while and you're out the job, you can talk a little bit more plainly. And I know what it's like being within the police as well. And sometimes we start listening to those who have never been in the police, have never worked alongside the police, but think they know an awful lot about the police and what they're like because of what they've received from the media and social media. Thank you. Get better soon, Finn. See, it's going so quick, I can't catch them up. So yes, we are, is a random one. Get better soon, Finn. Thank you for you. Sending love and hugs as well. This is like Gus Honeybun reading out birthdays. You're all far too young for that. I know you are. Okay, so here we go. Need to get ready for my night shift. Saturday night in ED in London. Love defending his human slaves. Exactly that. You're going to be. They're there. They're working hard for him. Okay, I'm just going to bring this one up. First of all, what a hero this one. This tweet it's Metropolitan police officer who narrowly avoided being killed by a knife-wielding suspect and courageously chased down the man who stabbed her has been nominated for National Bravery Awards. Now, this is genuine case, absolute hero, and basically approached this male who was acting suspiciously. He didn't want to answer her questions, and I know some people just like the police to deal with compliant people because if it gets a little bit hands-on, it all gets very upsetting for some people. Sometimes policing isn't pretty. So Natalie Markham, Sergeant Natalie Markham, basically got slashed with a knife in her stomach area, plus on her body armor, but luckily not seriously enough so that she could actually chase after the suspect and help detain him with other officers later on. But she got the injury. She went in. She actually did the taser. He pulled the taser barbs out and ran off. Just to let you know, really, with the taser barbs, very quickly, they're not. Taser's amazing. Okay, I'll get that. It's saved many lives. I call it the tool of the pacifist because it has saved many lives. It stopped police officers getting badly hurt, and it stopped police officers having to shoot offenders. Taser is, you need to still have the two barbs in. Winter is slightly more difficult. So if one barb hits and one barb misses, you're not going to have that contact. So they may have to run up with the taser itself. That would make the contact between the one barb and the taser, or they then just fire again. Get the thing? Thick clothing, stuff like that in the winter, again, could cause a problem where you don't get that electrical penetration, that side of things. So it's not foolproof. And sometimes people are able to pull the barbs here. If it's a good zap and it's effective, then they will. It will be effective. So she's done that. It wasn't effective because he was able to pull them out, which means to me they didn't have that good, amazing, good shot with that. And nothing to do with her. It's probably his clothing or whatever like that. What I wanted to add though as well is this one here. That Home Office finds forces firearms licensing return reviews are robust. Now, this is separate. It's not separate, but it's not about the Plymouth incident specifically. So I think we've got to wait for that inquiry. I was from this force. I covered this force, this area actually, as an armed response officer. I think the whole public were immensely impressed with how the community rallied round and the horrendous attack where that murderer killed 5 people. So it was, so it shows it is robust. And I was a little bit worried because a lot of these reviews can sort of dismiss the fact that there aren't any staff there aren't enough staff to do what you'd like to do, that they go, well, that's not our problem. This should have been done. And now, of course, you need to go into the social media side of people to find out, well, I just see how many tweets I do, for goodness sake. You've got to read every one of my tweets. You can't do that. You get a flavor or what, and who's going to do that and how are they going to pay for it? That is the massive problem. It's the problem with all vetting. It's the problem the Met have with the vetting. It's, I was on Julia Hartley-Brewer on Talk Radio the other day. She couldn't get me off quick enough because she wanted the soundbite of, all cops, so they need vetting and all that. And so, well, we always want more. I don't know. It's going to have to be checked to see if it's substantial enough. But if it isn't, you can't just say do more because somebody's got to do it. And is that boots off the street who are going to do it? And even if it's not uniformed officers doing the checks, it's civilians, but who's going to pay those wages out of the police budget? So it's police budget. So it means you have less officers on front line. Guess what? There's queues waiting to respond. There's queues of 999 calls unanswered, waiting for that, you see. So it's you're taking police officers off the front line to do these checks. It just means more money, doesn't it? It means more money. So there's no point in just going for that. It's just saying, yes, it needs to be done. All these like FrontLineChat, just got this one here. Yeah, I believe Dave might be listening into this. So hi, Dave. He's there pandering with his dog, making sure his dog is absolutely wonderful. He's got a little cup of tea. Tia is massaging his back end, no doubt, with cold presses, and everything is cool. But I miss him. So that's why I said it'd probably just be half an hour here, because you certainly won't want to hear me rambling on for an hour. Yes, good. There are, if you go on, if you don't already, if you did fall off the face of the earth and you don't know, you must follow Finn's Twitter account, Fabulous Finn, and his Facebook, and there you will find the latest in the videos of Finn and his progress. That'd be cool. So yeah, that is now one right for all you on slightly cheerier note. I am a bit of a gin drinker. I do like the gin. That sounds like I'm a raving alcoholic, doesn't it? I do like a good gin, and I've had some good gins, and but this one here is, so if you're into it, this one here happens to be, and I'm not just saying this because it's Thin Blue Line. It's 35 quid a bottle, but 10 quid immediately goes to Thin Blue Line, to officers, families, and so on and so forth, those PTS suffering PTSD and that side of things. So great packaging, brilliant. I took this photograph over my my beach in Leicester Glaze Beach. It's called in Newquay. It's not my beach. I make out as if it is, and yeah, it is. You can get it if you look on my, again, that Twitter account and that side of things. It's blooming marvelous. It's really mellow taste. It is gorgeous. I'm not getting paid anything to do this, but it genuinely, yes, I'd like the money to go to Thin Blue Line, but genuinely, I couldn't emphasize enough how unnaturally quickly I drank this, even though I ration myself every night so I don't turn into a raving alcoholic. ACQ91 is the wonderful Andrea Quinton, who might be skulking around in the background here somewhere. Ah, there we are. Yeah, there we go. So we need to permanently have the background for the gin. Yeah, it's true, Lusty Glaze. It's nice to see you, Thin Blue Line UK. So yeah, it's really lovely. It's such a mellow taste, and it's all the little bit of citrus in there, and all those things that wine connoisseurs are able to say, and I'm not. So that one is that's available online. I will show you actually at a stream. There we go. It's from International Police Association. Thin Blue Line gin is here, and it's got that. That's the article on it that they did, and that side of thing. But it is available online. Look at one of my Twitter tweets or from Andrea there. It should be able to help you to get that sorted. Good. I think this was a very, that photo I put on earlier, I thought was really really lovely. That one of Finn and Dave. It's a one from a little while ago, but it was it just sums it up. I've met Finn quite a few times now. He's actually been at my house. I've got a small swimming pool, and he okay. I bought this house when it was an absolute building site, and I'm too tight to pay anyone to do it, so I sort of renovated it all and that side of things. So it has got a swimming pool. I thought I could turn it into a child creche if I didn't use it very much. But Finn, so he's had a bit of a swim in the pool, so, and it was lovely. It was a real privilege to have him there, bless him. So what a star that dog is. Yes, I mean, it'll make Dave shed a tear if he heard this, but can you imagine when Finn isn't here? You know, I mean, it's a horrible thing to say, but it's you know, he is 12 and he's a big dog and he's luckily healthy, apart from he's hurt himself a little bit at the moment. But you can't take these people or dogs for granted, can we? They're not here forever. This is the problem. So we need to make the best of them while we can. And what he has achieved with Finn's Law Part 2, that side of things, for the rest of service animals and civilian animals and all our animals, really. Poignant that we are commemorating service animals in the next few days. Finn is one of the nation's heroes, sending love and licks from my dog. Okay. Okay. That was beyond the Call of Duty otherwise. Yeah, thank you. Oh, yeah, there's been a few comments. Thank you, Dawn. There's been a few comments. I was doing this from Newquay last week, and I flashed the camera around. My sister dived under the table, and my brother was there, who probably made some inappropriate comment about me. And then my mum was there, who is suffering from dementia, and she's quite more so since August. And so I've been down in Newquay for 5 days a week to help my sister, who's lived with my mum and looked after her so well up to now. So it's been interesting, but mum was there and she was saying, oh, enough now, Harry, you need to finish that. I said, it's not like News at 10. I can't be, News at 10 don't just shut down because it's not, you know, they've run out of news. So she was so sweet. I think she thought I was on the phone, but she is adorable. So thanks for that, Dawn. She's so wanting to please everyone, and luckily she's not She hasn't got that frustration, anger, or that side of things. Just all the other bits. And very tired and very weak, unfortunately. It's the vascular dementia she's got. I'll tell you what, though, for those people, I'll do very quick. For those who do know someone with dementia, what I've learned, and I learned it a little bit in the police, and I suggested it to a couple of people, emphasising the fact I wasn't an expert on it. And I actually put, not to ridiculously plug that, but that is my novel, The Cornish Scoop, which was basically my life, but anonymously into a character. But one of those was a lady suffers from dementia, but it's to go along with it. So I said, for one instant example I can give you is that I bought pasties, and my mum said, "Oh, we just had some lovely pasties, Harry." And I said, "Oh, really, Mum?" Knowing full well she could probably smell them. She hasn't had any. And so you wouldn't say, "Oh, no, we haven't had them yet, but we'll have them later," because it's sort of confusing, and it's would be embarrassing for Mum. She's constantly trying to prove that she's able to be helpful, and she'll try to wash up, even though she can't really stand for very long and things. So it's really difficult not to jump on and say, "No, don't move, Mum," or "Can I help you?" or "Can I do that?" It's you sort of got to monitor, let them be themselves, and get ready to catch them, really. So I just said to her, "Oh, really, Mum? Yeah, was it a nice pasty?" She said, "Yeah, lovely." I said, "Well, I've got some more. Would you like one this evening?" She said, "Oh, yeah, that's good," because she clearly hadn't had a pasty. So those are the sort of things, and to just go with, however ridiculous any person with dementia might see with a hallucination, is just to go along with it, and it's amazing the difference it makes, because they forget about it in 10 minutes, and they're happy. Mum's happy as Larry, I've got to say. Well, she's got the best view in the world. It's unbelievable. Yes, Finn. Julie McKendry. Finn is fine, alert, having ice therapy, message plenty of TLC, massage, plenty of TLC. I'm sure you can watch a clip when this is finished. Good to see Finn again. Lovely. Thank you for that. Blimey. Masses of messages. So I'm just going to go, yeah, you're right. It does, doesn't it? That pic did show it all. Ginger, do you know what? Yes, I've got a swimming pool, but it's because, can you imagine? They'd say, "Oh, you've been to the police, they pay the police too much." The reason I didn't is because because of that. And the only reason I can is I had a small company as well, like importing planters, container loads of stuff like builder stilts and things like that. And that sort of went away, and I did artificial plants then instead, which wasn't very green, was it? And then I just done all my DIY. So all my days off, instead of cycling and swimming and doing all fun things, would be DIY, building. Fed up with the bloody stuff now. But anyway, that's how that. But that was a very fortunate thing to have around in COVID and things. I know how lucky I was with that. Okay, FrontLineChat is always looked forward to. You guys are 90% of the time cheering us up and giving great interviews and chats, along with important topics, of course. Now it's time we support you guys. Thank you. And I will go. Oh, right, I better go into that, hadn't I? Because I was going to refer to this bit here. Okay, let's get this right. This is about Tom Windsor. It's very popular in the police, not. And it's about this one here. So the police watchdog says we should trawl the police phones to weed out misogynists. Well, basically what they're saying, they should do random checks, not on just work phones, but on private phones. So first of all, I'd ask how you would feel if that was your company. And you say, "Oh, well, you're the police." Well, okay, steady on. They're trying to stop the police from joining any dating apps. I totally agree they shouldn't be wearing their uniforms in dating apps and showing off like that. But I don't see why they can't go on dating apps and say they're in the police, like you would with anything. They're trying to then, I would object to it. I certainly don't feel like I'm a misogynist, racist, homophobe, or whatever like that, homophobic or anything like that. I certainly don't. But do I want random checks on my phone? Because we're now asking for other people. It's a little bit like like hate crime. Hate crime, great. Give us an example of hate crime. Horrendous. Need to get rid of it. Got it. But then somebody is deciding what is hate crime and what isn't. And that's the scary bit. Where is the line that is drawn? There's no specific line. And the same with this is, will they start needing to get a few league tables to see how they are, managing to weed this stuff out from people's phones? The problem with this as well is if somebody put a cartoon meme on there, whatever they said, and it wasn't particularly racist. It wasn't particularly racist. It wasn't racist. It wasn't, but it was inappropriate. Okay, you've now got a load of people in that room who now think, oh my God, do I dob Fred in and say he's done this just to save my job? Or do I just, like a lot of us have done, probably when you see something, you just think, do you know what? That's not me. I don't find that funny. It's nothing specifically criminal. It's not criminal. It's not downright offensive, but it's just not me. I'm just going to ignore it. But then I'm waiting for somebody else to decide whether that is inappropriate enough for me now to be suspended and interviewed. The stress would be phenomenal. And I know, for one, having a Twitter account for all those numbers, that I would come off Twitter, I would come off WhatsApp, I would come off everything. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And guess what? WhatsApp I would say, is the police canteen nowadays. I'll take that off now. I'd say it's the police canteen. It's where that, there wasn't anything wrong with canteen culture to a certain extent. It was that banter, but then who decides what is appropriate banter or not? It certainly shouldn't. I mean, hearing some of the things about Yorkshire cricket and all that, they're sounding horrendous, that people felt that was just normal and banter. I can tell you, I was in the police for all that time. Never would that be considered banter. So I'm not naive enough to think that doesn't go on. It clearly does in certain areas. I'm worried about my personal view, and nothing. I wouldn't be talking about this if Dave was here. My worry is they're saying, okay, we need to do these checks on phones. It's too late. They shouldn't be in there. If they're doing this stuff on phones, they shouldn't have got in the first place. You see the guys that have been arrested and dealt with for certain offences, sharing photographs. I'm not going to go into the details. One had been in for 9 months, the other for just over 2 years. So really, really inexperienced, not been found out yet. But then is there anything in their vetting to show that they should have been spotted in the first place? Because these sorts of people are very good at hiding that sort of behaviour. And I don't know if it's possible, but it does seem to be a little bit of an avalanche of them at the moment, doesn't it? We just got to remember there are there's 135,000 cops out there. And so even if you've got 20 of these stories, it's still a very small amount. And it doesn't make it right. Get that. Totally get that. Yeah, so we get that. So my worry is, they're shutting the door after the horse has bolted to a certain extent. They've got to weed these people out. But how would you like to be employed in a company where they don't trust you, and they every now and then say, all right, we'll borrow your phone, we'll check that, thank you, you'll have it back in a while, and you've got someone snooping around your phone? Where's your private life gone? Where's what Human Rights Act doesn't relate to police officers? It's not exactly enticing people to join the police, is it? What can people do who are bullied and harassed, Harry, on Facebook? Facebook do nothing. It is frustrating on Facebook. I think they're constantly in the front line with being criticised, and they're going to have to do something more. I think eventually, it's going to have to be that you can't have an anonymous account. I know as a police officer, there's no way that the police can deal with this sort of thing, unless it becomes very obvious and clear. But there just aren't those officers involved who will, because people will say, well, this is priority. And somebody, well, this is priority, this is priority, this is priority. Well, you probably have half a police officer on each priority in one force. There are so many. And it doesn't undermine the seriousness of those incidences to those victims involved on the other side of it. But, if there's always, I would get people saying, my daughter's been told by so-and-so, and I insist you need to do it. Well, how old's your daughter? Well, she's 11. Well, Facebook says she shouldn't even be on there when she's 11. So we can really help by protecting our children by at least conforming to the rules, because they've put a false date of birth in order that her daughter can get into a site where she's got to be very much more maturely prepared in order to deal with the shite that can be on there. Julie, I'm sorry to hear that, my love. I really am sorry to hear that. If you are feeling anxious about going there, I know the theatres are really good about keeping like COVID distances and things like that. They're very good with that. But look, it'll be a pleasure to see you if you're there, and it will be a laugh. We're going to have some fun. We are going to have some fun. And I think I might be a target of some ridicule by things like that. I'm just getting a sniff of it. Do you know what I mean? All in good faith. But yeah, Ginger, exactly. No words, those two officers who took that. I mean, how to be as disrespectful as you possibly can in any way, shape, or form, and treat somebody. I went to, I mean, probably, yeah, I'd stopped counting after 150 fatalities that I'd been to attended in road traffic collisions, and each person I made sure it was just a personal thing of me, even if they're under the blanket, as the senior investigating officer and I was attending the scene, I would make sure I lifted the blanket and I saw them in the face, because I didn't want them to be looked at as a statistic. I didn't want, even though as well, which is probably safeguarding me from a lot of emotional problems, is I also realized that the soul had gone. It's almost like you'd left your jacket behind, but I needed to do that so I could look the relatives in the face and say, yes, I saw him, I saw her. And that was really important to me. And I think if you're getting people in who would take a photo of that and then share it, I still can't fathom it. It's either, massively criminal or immature in the extremest of levels. And that immaturity must have been, you'd want to sort it, wouldn't you? You'd want to find it in the vetting process somehow. You really would. But anyway, that's what I think on that. Gosh, look, it's moving up. We've lost so much experience lately, Anthony. Tony, I know Tony, he was on FrontLineChat. He's a wonderful man. Traffic dealt with far more fatalities than I have, probably. New officers are not getting the direction from long-serving officers as we did, and these problems are likely to become more evident. I believe this is more of an organisation issue. It is, and do you know what? I think, Anthony, is that I joined up with Anthony. I joined up with him. Wonderful man, and so this is it. Experience is gone, because experience, I tell you, I speak to so much more experience just saying, right, I'm out of here, I've had enough. Just fed up with being put in the same group as these individuals that are usually have been in less than 2 years, that haven't been found out yet, but then get found out. And of course, it's just the press say police officers, because they are police officers, but they also, it could be a special constable, PCSO, and they talk about it as if they're a 25-year experienced police officer. And occasionally there's a 25-year experienced police officer. But it was really, when I did my probation, you looked around the section and there was a really good variety of age group. And you knew that the senior PC you respected. And yes, you would have your fun. And there was banter and there was Mickey taking. But there was that professional side down to the core. And that's why I always was a sergeant. I always made sure, and I know Anthony will be the same, is I've always made sure that, we would have a laugh. My briefings they would, not because of me, but I made sure that everyone had a laugh, they could relax, because they were probably going to have to do something that was quite serious, or they'd had something serious the day before. But they also knew that just because we're having a laugh doesn't mean we try to avoid work and we try to avoid our responsibilities. When it came down to it, we were professional, and we always considered, if we were attending a job, it was, how would we attend it if it was one of our family that we were going to, and that could be if they were an offender, for example. How would we deal with a member of our family who was acting in a criminal way still? So it gives you that sort of a reminder that you're not just dealing with, yet another domestic, yet another fight in town, that sort of thing. It's difficult sometimes to do it when you're on your umpteenth domestic. and there's paperwork coming out the ears, and you just don't see the cycle breaking at all. Human mind can come in, and it's just important to reset that now and then. And I think good supervisors are really important for this, because if you look at where these sections are and where the individuals are that cause these problems, have a look at their sergeant and see what they're like. Because if they're good leaders, I'd be surprised, because they'd have weeded them out, or they'd have maintained a minimum level that they expect, and they wouldn't be, you get a more relaxed section that are, a bit work shy, shall we say, if the sergeant is hands off and not really getting involved so much. It's I think that sergeant. The problem is, because there's lack of sergeants, they're doing acting sergeant duties with someone who's just been in 2 years. There's nothing against those officers for doing that. They've been given that opportunity, or they've been pushed into that opportunity, and they're doing the best they can, but they have got no experience in order to lead a team of officers, and it can quickly fall apart if you're not careful. That is the problem. That is the problem I see. I don't know how we're going to get out of it. I don't know. It's frightening. Devon and Cornwall, where I am from, very fortunate. It's an alien to me to have witnessed any of these things that have gone on that we've heard about recently in certain forces, but it wouldn't have been accepted. My guys in my section have come up to me on a couple of occasions over the years and said, we're not happy about this guy. And if somebody was saying sort of a racist joke, ha ha ha, I tell you what, no way. So somebody said it's absolutely true. If you're a racist, the last place you want to be is in the police, because everything's recorded. You've got all these witnesses who know that if they're roped in with you, they're going to lose their jobs. So they're going to dump you like a brush, because you're meant to join the police to help the community to sort out these idiots, not become one of them. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Just really, Julia, I hope you don't mind me putting up this. It's a lot of people do have this anxiety side of things, and it's from COVID, isn't it? As hasn't helped at all, because it's not sort of giving people the opportunities to sort of go up to the edges to push those boundaries, your personal boundaries, slightly further and further, maybe. Underground car park, not far. That's where I'll park if I can get over anxieties. Well, you'll get the biggest cheer from me, Julie, if you manage it. Okay, what's this? Nicola. People follow my friends and then share their content set up by fake accounts and spread the lies. Yeah, I mean, people do have to be careful. I mean, I knew, I was looking at a fake account the other day. Some cop who was like, yeah, I'm an ARV, I'm a geezer, I'm a this, that, and the other. Yeah, we did this and that. And it's real sort of, it's like, oh, shut up. And then you see they let themselves go straight away, because they say, yeah, my superior said da 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 da. Right. No police officer would call a supervisor a superior. All right. That just wouldn't happen. So immediately knew he was a fake account, trying to get the bravado of, oh, you're amazing. You carry a gun. You're amazing. Lightweight. So, getting on my soapbox now. Yes, Sue, it is basically vascular dementia, certainly that I'm aware of. And I'm not a doctor, you might have noticed by the clues of the hats. And I'm not an American cop either. I'm not either. Vascular is heart. Not enough oxygen to the brain, and that deteriorates in that side of things. So usually vascular dementia tend to don't quite live as long as Alzheimer's, that side of things. But in a way, I don't know if I'm pushing it too far, but I think I prefer that. I prefer the heart wears out first, because I don't want to see no one would want to see their relatives getting all frustrated, frightened, and that, do they? They just want them to go in their sleep. That would be nice. see some shouty stuff. I'm going to put it up. I haven't read it. When I move, this is risky, isn't it? When I move, be going to one of your lives and to wind Harry up. Oh, my lives like Chester. But house bond card. Oh, what? Get over a year. So fed up here. I'm not sure I understand what that is. Oh, do you know? It's what the press is particularly interested in as well. I often wonder as well. Did this always go on? It's just that it's more availably known now. You know, because I remember when I was growing up, there could be a newspaper, something would happen, and it would take a few days to get in there, or a couple of days to get it in the newspaper, and it would be out in the newspaper, and it was the big thing. But now it's instant, and that information is, and we're far more, transparent. We're transparent, more transparent now. It's not closed doors; it's open to everything. So I think that's part of it. Part of it is that I don't think people were wonderful angels in the past. I've also spoken to a lot of cops who were in the 70s, and people I really respect. I respect their integrity, the way they speak, the way they talk about policing and that side of things. And they said it just wasn't like this. You know, even I've said, it's not like we're 70s cops anymore. And I've been said, hang on a minute, it wasn't like that. You got your idiots and you got this certain things that happened, but it wasn't like that for everyone. And it's just worth remembering that people are people, and if you get cops from general members of public, and you make them police, there isn't a machine that suddenly makes them all this completely inappropriate. These are normal people from society, and it becomes very clear if somebody wants to join the police because they want to dominate people or whatever. And I promise you, they don't last a second. They give themselves away, and they're not interested in doing all the real hard work, all that paperwork. They're like, oh, let's get them. So they get on disciplinaries and chucked out anyway. But that's what I think. Okay, Sue Wright. I was watching some police program that I'd recorded, and they'd attended a big lorry smash on the motorway. And when they opened the other carriageway, the amount of people who were filming the scene as they left on their phones, they were getting shouted at by one of the officers and getting their reg numbers taken for using their phones at the wheel. It is funny, isn't it? It's crazy. It's crazy that people are like driving by on their phones. Just get the number plates. Sometimes when we're working in places where we couldn't sort of drive in and after people, if it would have been something specific like that, just get a number plates, and they get a NIP, notice of intended prosecution, that they get told and say you were seen doing this. I remember there was a lorry driver driving, and because I was in an X5 quite high up, I was on the way to a job, but I was able to. No, it wasn't. I wasn't on the way to a job. I can't imagine why I can't remember with you why I wasn't able to stop him and deal with him there, but I couldn't. But I went past him and he was watching pornography on a screen on his dashboard, and he's just driving. Well, first of all, that's illegal. You can't have a screen so you can watch a TV program and that side of things. So anyway, bit distracting, bit dangerous. He was dealt with in the post. His transport manager wasn't impressed. I know that. Right, they're all arranging their Chester stuff. This is fantastic. You can, from the Story House Theatre, you can get your tickets there, last-minute tickets. Arthur Smith is the best. If you look on him on Twitter, he's spelled at ARF. Smith. And you'll get his Twitter on that side of it. He is hilarious. I love him to bits. So we're all going up there. Ian Paulson Davies, actor, was a comedian. He was on Frontline Chat as well. He's coming up. So I'm really looking forward to it. I said I was nervous, and then I was asked, "Are you really nervous?" I said, "No, I'm probably too arrogant to be nervous, actually." I'm really looking forward to it. But we want Dave there. If he possibly can be there. I'd love Dave to be there, but I don't want to see Dave cry. That would kill me. He's my mate. He's in my book. He's in there as my dog handler. It's called Dave, but I called his dog Finchley. I think I've called his dog just to protect the innocence of Finn. Right, Mark, this is an interesting side. I'm old school, always will be. Society has lost its way with too many having no respect for any authority. I still believe this should start at home with good parenting. Mark, I'm a bit old school too, my friend. I think, look, I've just been on Duke of Edinburgh. I'll show you something with that, actually. I was on Duke of Edinburgh and in Bodmin Moor, helping some kids out there learn to navigate and things. There's some decent kids coming up through. You know, there are decent people coming through. It's really good to realise that, to remember that. But I do think there's some parents who weren't parented themselves, and their parents weren't parented themselves. There's some pretty shocking parenting going on, and that I think we've lived through a bit of a generation where, because my philosophy, my theory is because of the horrendous child abuse that took place. So we would say, oh, can you even if there's someone it's important if somebody touches you anywhere that you tell your mum or tell your dad, right? You tell someone you trust, right? And then that came into sort of a thing where the teachers they weren't able to imply some discipline because the accusations of assaults and that side of things. And then suddenly the teachers weren't able to teach anymore with some kids, because how can you when there's no discipline? And I think that's spread on. And people were saying, remember, you should be yourself. Don't let anyone change you. And I'm saying, no, if you're an absolute, then change. But they weren't told that bit, So they're, I'm an arrogant little sod. I'm like that. I'm not going to change. I'm just going to be me. And they're being applauded from the sidelines. And I think that's all part of it a little bit, really. I try to say something. My kids are 22 now, so it's right. But you remember all the onesies came in? Thank God they're dying out. I hate them. Anyway, when they were younger, we said to our kids, look, if anyone touches you where your swimsuit goes, so I've got a boy and a girl, if anyone touches you where your swimsuit goes, then it's important you tell someone you trust. Now, my son, when he was like 18, 19, I would give him a bear hug, and I'd like jump on his bed and give him a bear hug or something. And he's 22 now. He gives me the best hugs, black belt, taekwondo, and all that. And you go, Mum, Dad's touching me where my onesie covers. I said, no, not your onesie. I'm like, not your onesie, Rowan. Mum, he's touching me where my onesie covers. It was just brilliant. It's kids, you can't beat them. But wait, not legally anyway. Right, okay. What have we got here? So that's the thing on Chester. That's it. I'm getting nervous, I won't lie. I might have a little bit, or maybe I am, I don't know. But also so looking forward to the appearance of Ted. So there's hopefully, come on Dave, please be there. Hopefully Finn will be better, but I completely understand if you just can't. Arthur Smith, good man. See what I mean? ARFUR, top man. Look at his YouTube stuff. It's phenomenally funny. Ian is the nicest guy in the world. Actor, writer, director, voiceover. And that's where you can get it, at the Storyhouse Live. And that is us on a bit of a Ian's not looking his best there. I don't think any of us are, actually, apart from Arthur. But it's going to be a laugh. And those who aren't going or aren't able to go, I will let you know how it goes. Oh yeah, and this is where I was on Bodmin Moor. For anyone who this is what I do in the Dartmoor. It's a bit of fun, and I'll just play it for a little bit, let you see what it's saying. Hello. Pretty barren. Hello. I am on Cozy Dartmoor. No, it's not. I'm not on Dartmoor. I'm not on Dartmoor. I'm on Bodmin Moor. I'm usually on Dartmoor, but Bodmin Moor. Right, notice that's a particularly attractive face there. Notice I am teaching these kids to navigate, and I don't even know what moor I am on. All right, that's the concern we have for our kids in the future. Here we go. Not a flattering picture. Or same colour as Dartmoor. There we go. Same colour as Dartmoor. Pretty featureless in places. Bodmin Moor is quite small. There's the occasional beast of Bodmin Moor and that sort of thing you've got to avoid.
bear attacks, that sort of thing. At the moment, you can see there's teams there. That one's mine. I should try not to lose them if I can. This is the silver training, so it's sort of training them how to navigate the old-fashioned style, just in case the old GPS bomb takes out all the satellites, and then we still know how to use navigation. And that's really, it's just fun, and it shows them the organics of the land and all that sort of thing. And it makes them really look at the land and see the contours and see where the woods are on the map.
There you go. That's enough of that. You get the idea anyway, but it's really good. So they will have been doing some more training today. And so they're putting that training into practice. Slightly worried because I'm the one who trained this group on how to navigate and in various ways and whatever. And we covered quite a few miles as well. And then they're left to their own devices. So if they all get lost, it's not going to look good on me, is it? But that's with Truro School, top school. Right, okay, here we are. Straight. Newsflash. 1651, we have Fabulous Finn. We'll be doing a short live with Finn this evening. So that, keep an eye out on that. And that's in his Facebook there. It'll be on Twitter as well, but have a look on his Facebook on that side of things. Yeah, day before that though, Rose, they had horrendous weather and that. Yeah, good. Just follow Finn on Fabulous Finn on his Twitter account, on his Facebook rather, and you can see that. It's probably on Twitter as well, but Facebook can say a bit more there as well, can't he? Oh, dawn fireworks. My dog's struggling with fireworks. Is everyone else's out there? Mine hates fireworks, and unfortunately, it used to be for 3 days tops when I was a youngster, and now it's like a month at least, isn't it? And it's starting at 1:30 in the afternoon. What's that about? So my dog bloody hates it, and it's so. I'm one of those grumpy people who say, yeah, it should be sold to private people. But yeah, it's really, it just goes on and on and on now. Classic FM, yeah, I think Becky was going to get a complaint about noisy TV because she was covering it so much. Good. I think, Karen Wilson as an ex-DOV assessor. Yeah, there was once someone on their walk and wild camping asked me where to plug their hairdryer. I cried laughing. It's funny. Sometimes, I was going in Helvellyn, and I've done it in really hot weather and very like blizzards as well. Helvellyn is like second biggest mountain in England. It's Scafell's the highest one. I would say, come on, keep going, because, if it was really hot, I'd say there's an ice cream van on the top and really best ice creams. And I'd have them absolutely convinced with that. So cruel. And then vice versa, it would be a cooked breakfast if it was really cold weather. So cruel. They'd be looking for this van, not actually understanding where it's got from. The other thing I'd like to do, and I don't do it so much now, I'm not so cruel now, but, with the sheep, when they get pregnant, right? This is a lesson on pregnancy, right? No, it isn't. Sheep get pregnant, they get big, right? Very big. They're even more rounder with a tiny little head in the middle. And I used to say that they've just eaten too much grass and they're fermenting the grass and they're just about to blow and explode. And occasionally what you do, you'd walk along in moors and you'd see a sheep where it died naturally. They just died naturally. And the foxes and stuff had scavenged it and they pulled it apart. And it was just bones. It was nothing gory. It was just bones with a little skull there, over there, and the wool all over. And I'd go by and go, oh, that one's blown. That just blew up. So you've got to be careful. And so when we saw the pregnant ewes, we'd walk around them to avoid them until I told them at the end of the day, and when they felt particularly silly. But some people call that banter. And I did, I had that rapport with them, so I was able to do that. They knew I wasn't, I was just taking the mick, and they took it in good form. But, or maybe somebody would call that bullying. It's like, to those I say, get lost. Right. Where is that? The weather up here is horrendous. Can't stand up in some of the winds gusts. I hope those doing DOV aren't having it so bad. Character building, Joe. Let them do it. Let them stick in the worst weather. I tell you, it's really good when it's on the last day. Because if it's on the last day and they're soaked through, it doesn't matter anymore. But we do make sure the first rules they do is their sleeping bag and their spare clothing is wrapped in one bag, in the bottom of the bag, and so that they could literally put it underwater, and it would be, at least they'd got dry clothing every night. So it's, and I'll tell you what, I think a tent in the middle of a storm is the coziest place in the world, personally. Love it. There's nothing wrong with it. Perfectly warm. Oh, okay. Stephanie was talking about her late husband. My late hated them. We had them thrown at us outside the police station. Right, cops came out and got me home. Oh, right. See, I bet it's always happened before. It has happened before. Donna's asking what she's walked into. Exploding sheep, I think, Donna, is all I was saying. Now, Julie, stop it. Stop it, Julie. We're not going to get involved in all those sheep puns. It does. And I said to them, I tell you what, there was a van of, and I set out to do this training, and they'd had that bad night the night before, 1656, finishing this in 4 minutes. Love you all for staying on. And I turned around, and they didn't know me from Adam, and I went, "Oh, hi, I'm going to be, and a really good bunch." And so I'll just tell you, and they looked all a bit, they got up early, they were a bit cold and whatever, and they were thinking a bit nervous for the day ahead. I said, just to let you know, without a shadow of a doubt, a Gold Duke of Edinburgh Award, it's worth 3 A levels, if not more. And they went, "Oh," I said, because if you walk in, get degrees, get your A levels, really important. Do the best you can. But then if you're sitting in a interview room, and you're waiting, and they've got a degree, you've got a degree, and you've got Gold DOV, that means you can push through real hardship, because if you're doing silvers and golds, you will get some rubbish weather, and you might have really hot weather, and you might have really freezing cold weather, but you will get horrendous weather, and it just means you can push through that and get to the end of it. And I said, even those rubbishy bits, the volunteering bits and the hobbies and things like that, because that 50% of those who actually do that expedition don't actually get their awards because they don't finish all those little messy bits. But again, that shows that you're able to organize, prioritize, plan, and get these things done. Yes, I think people are gearing the real worst. Yeah, good. People are all reminiscing about the DOV now. Well, I fell backwards into a brook. Oh, well, you did well. At least you didn't fall over a cliff, Donna. Find some. Dear. No, that's good. Good. Rose, okay, I'll give you that one. That's the winner. Thank you very much. I'm not putting any other up. Apart from that one, maybe. But no more. Okay, I've had enough of this. This is not even funny anymore. Oh no, I've got. See, I remember a colleague of mine telling his wife, "What a brilliant idea! That rumble strips on the motorway were braille for blind drivers." She believed him until she thought about it. My wife thought the cattle grids were there to clean the mud off your tires for ages. And I won't say who it was, but it was an ambassador's wife, an ambassador and an ambassador's wife in a car. And they were driving through Cornwall, and protection officer said, and it was a few years ago, and protection, she said, "Oh, those windmills, what are they doing?" And he said, "Well, they are to blow the clouds away for the tourists, so they have blue sky." And it just so happened above the windmills there was blue sky, and one which was stationary, it was cloudy. Had her completely convinced. Yet the ambassador looked back at both of them and went, just Linny, that's amazing. Good for her. Oh my God, she's achieved something so much there. So well done to her. Guys, 1659. Donna, I'm not even going to put that one up. It's not worth it. It's not. You don't deserve it, that one. Thank you so much. 179. Brilliant. Thank you so much indeed for everyone who's joined us. Yes, we missed Dave. Yes, we want Dave back. I've got a busy week ahead like that. Let's see. Saturday's a long way away. We'll update you what's happening on Saturday. Let's wish Dave all the best. Please, can you? I'm so annoyed because I had it up here and now it's gone, but let me see. Please, can you help him? Even though he's reached his target, it is very expensive that side of things with dogs and things like that, especially big dogs. So it's just really important if you can help support Finn, because Dave isn't able to take any of his. Dave isn't able to. He's a trustee of the charity, and he's not able to use the money from it for himself for obvious reasons. So there we go. If you could help raising £10,000, fabulous Finn on his recovery, as we're trustees, Simply Poor is not covered. Therefore, we need your help. Very expensive. He's made that, but it would be nice to bump that up a little bit, because I know for sure that if it wasn't used for specifically that, I know Dave's integrity is so amazing. He would use it for something just as good. So. Love you all. Thank you very much. Really appreciated your patience with me. It's been emotional. Have a good one.